Good morning, everyone. In the last session, we discussed about the important concept called string buffer class with a different type of constructor and different type of methods we identified in the previous sessions here. Now, if you observe what is the last method we discussed in the last session, so something like a delete method as well as delete caret method we discussed here. Okay, so what exactly the delete method and the delete caret method is doing here? Now, the delete caret method, whenever you are providing this particular index number, the specific character is going to remove from this particular string buffer. Okay, so what about this particular delete method? Now, whenever you are providing the beginning index and end index here, between the how many characters we are going to found, now all the characters are going to be removed here. Now, if we observe, so string buffer dot delete method. Now this is the second method. This particular delete method, what exactly it is doing is? What exactly it is doing is? Here, if you observe carefully, start index and end index here. Start index and end index. Now whenever we provide, for example, now what I'm doing is 0 to 5 I'm providing. 0 to 5 I'm trying to provide. Whenever I'm providing this particular 0 to 5, what happens internally? Between this particular character, how many characters we are going to have, all the characters are going to be removed here. Okay, now here you can see, so this is coming here. Now what is removing? Basically the string, whatever this particular string message we provided, this particular string message is now removing here, because we provided so first 5 characters. 0 to 5 is nothing but the first 5 characters we are trying to delete here. Now if you see the result here, this is the result we are getting. Now inside this particular result, what happening basically, here we don't have the first 5 characters here. So string strin, these are the 5 characters are removed. From the G onwards, it is trying to provide the information here. So this is what we need to understand. Delete method, delete caret. Delete caret basically it will delete only one character. It will delete only one character. So what about this particular delete method? Based on the positions, like how many values we want to delete, so that will take care of this particular delete method. But here what we need to provide here, we need to provide the proper information. So what are the values we want to delete here? Okay, what are the values we want to delete here? So this is what we need to understand here. Okay, now back to here, what are the additional method we are having here? So now if you observe carefully, replace method. So what exactly the replace method will do? Replace method. Now after this particular delete, string buffer dot replace method. Now here you can see, so start index and end index, and what about this particular third parameter, str? Now what you understand here, between the start index and end index, how many characters we are going to get here? So all the characters are going to be replaced with the new string. Now where we are having this new string, the third parameter. Okay, for example here, now after deleting this particular 0 to 5, I'm trying to do the same replacement here. I'm trying to do the replacement here. Okay, so simply I'm doing this particular replace here. Now observe carefully what exactly this particular replace method will do. Now this is the starting position and this is the end position. Now this is the string I'm trying to replace here. Observe carefully how this particular replace method is going to implemented internally. Now first we'll see the output here, how it is coming here. Now here you can see replace here, replace. After the replace, now whatever we are getting here, now if you see here new string buffer. Okay, how this particular message printing? Okay, so what we can do, before going to do the replacement, after delete, first I will print this particular original string buffer, and later we'll call this particular replace method. We'll call this particular original buffer. Now here you can see this is the original string. after calling the delete method. Now, after calling the delete method, we are printing the original string buffer object. Now, after this, what we are doing, we are calling again replace method. So what exactly this replace is doing? Based on this particular position, it is going to override with this particular newly string here. Now, so carefully observe. Now, how many characters are going to be replaced here? Up to this. Up to these many characters. Getting the point? So up to these many characters are replaced here. Now here, if you observe carefully, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So these are the whatever the character I highlighted. So those are the 5 characters. But now whatever the string you given, this is not the 5 characters. Now here you can see how many we are having. So 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 characters we are having. But the range we given as a 5. Now what about this particular additional 2? The additional 2 also now it is insetting. Now it is insetting. If you see, replace here. Okay, after replace, but whatever the characters we are having, the existing characters, all it is keeping to the newly created string here. Now what you need to understand here, so these 5 characters are going to be removed. Only these 5 characters are going to remove, but even though you are giving more than 5, characters, but what happening internally, the size is now increasing, but the only 5 characters are not going to be inserted. So the now whatever the new string we provided, the entire new string is going to be replaced here, but the old string only it will replace the 5 characters. Now if you observe carefully, this is the diagram here, because internally it is going to store like this only. Okay, now observe carefully what I'm trying to explain here, because string and string buffer internally it is trying to implement with a byte array. Now you can imagine this is our byte array. Okay, now whenever we are having byte array like this, first what is the position we are providing? The first value something like G and BU buffer. After this particular buffer, so these are the original character. This is space and I given as a S. Now observe carefully. So it started with 0, 1, 2, 3 and 4. So it is having sorry, up to 10 I given. Okay, but what is the replace size we given? 0 to 5. You can observe carefully. This is a 0. Now this is a 4. 0 to 5 is nothing but okay. Here also we need to take care of this 5 also. Okay. Now observe carefully, 0 to 5 I am highlighting here. Now how many characters we are having? If you observe carefully, 0 to 5 is nothing but these are the characters are going to be replaced here. But now in place of this particular R, in place of this particular G, it is going to come up with a re. So now observe carefully, up to these are the characters are filled here. REPLAC. Now, because this is the position we provided, 0 to 5 position we provided, but still we are having one more character. What is the one more character? E. One more character is E. Now, what you need to understand here, up to C, it is filled, but so we are having more one extra character. What exactly this character will do? This character, now, it will inserted in the 6th position. It will inserted in the 6th position. Now this 6th position original R, it will shift out the one more position here. Okay. Now if you observe carefully, here I am doing this particular replace operation here, but this R variable, like R character, what happens internally? It will go to the next position, E will go to the next position, W will go to the next position, the space will go to the next position, and S will go to the next position. Now what you understand here, it will go for the shift operations. So here, even though we are trying to give the more than the current size, Now what happens internally? All the string variables are going to be, all the string characters are going to be initialized here, but it will do the additional shift operation. Because of this, now here you can see replace, entire replace is coming, but after this, whatever the value we are having, okay, whatever the value we are having, now it's going to be change the original position. Earlier if it is a 6, now it is become 7. So this is the positions are changed here. So this is very important here. Now what you need to understand basically, this particular section of code, whatever you added 0 to 5, 0 to 5, only the 0 to 5 elements are replaced here. Even though if you are giving character, additional characters are going to be added, but it is not going to be removed with the existing characters. Only the 5 positions, like whatever the position, if you provide 0 to 3, only 3 positions are going to be removed, like not removed, replaced here. But the original string, if it is giving string like a 7, the additional 4, it is going to be added newly. This is what we need to understand regarding this particular replace method. So still any question? This is also very important here. Replace based on the position, existing indexes are going to be replaced here. But if even though if it is replacing, if still we are having more characters, now what it will do? It is going to insert it as a new records. It is inserted as a new record. So this is what we need to understand here. Okay. Still anyone having any questions regarding this particular replace method? Okay. Now what is another important method? Here we need to understand the substring. So the substring basically we already discussed in the previous class here, but that is we discussed in the string class example. Now we need to understand using this particular string buffer. So now if you observe substring, so substring is internally it is a overloaded method. Now how we are saying the substring is a overloaded method? Because name of the method is same, the parameters are different here. Now the first method is expecting one parameter, the second method now it is expecting two parameters. Now it is now it is expecting two parameters. Now what you need to understand basically, what we need to understand here, we need to understand the first method what it will do, as well as the second method what it will do. The first method, whatever the index you provided, for example I given as a 45, okay, I given as a 45. From the 45, okay, from the 45 index location, it will copy the end of the result. Getting the point? Now again this will we can discuss about the array only, the array concept only. So you can see this is the 45. Okay, it started with a 0, it is ended with a 60. It is ended with a 60. Now observe, I given as a 45 index location. From this particular 45 index location, end of this particular string, how many characters we are going to found? So all the characters are going to be copied here. Okay, all the characters are going to copy it as a new string here. Getting the point? So new string is nothing but here we are discussing about the string buffer. Now if you see this string buffer, basically it is trying to return as a string object. Okay, now string buffer dot substring. Even though we are calling the substring under the string buffer class, what is the return type we are getting? String return type. Now what we can understand, this entire characters internally, it is going to be created as a new string object here. Okay, so this is what we need to understand here. Now observe carefully what I am trying to explain here. This particular section is going to take care of for this particular first method, substring. Now what about the second method? Second method is expecting the starting index and end index. Now here I given starting index. Now here I am trying to load. 50. So 10 to 50. 10 to 15 in between whatever the characters we are having. So those characters we are trying to load and converting into string object here. Okay, observe carefully. This is the first method, something like a substring. Is expecting only first parameter, something like a 45. Now when we are providing this 45, automatically it will copy the value to the end of the given string. Okay, it is going to copy to the given end of the string here. Now what about the second method? What about this particular second method? Now the position I'm giving, starting position. Now end position also I'm giving. Now if you see between this particular 10 and 50, whatever the characters we are having, those characters are going to be loaded and it will try to create as a new string object here. This is the difference between these two. So using the second method, explicitly we can provide beginning index and end index. But the first method, there is no scope to provide the end index. Okay, now by default it will take care of the end of the result here. Only we need to provide the beginning index, like a starting index, so that it will try to copy the all the elements which are available under this particular string buffer. Okay, now observe carefully, I given 45 here. Now after this, what I'm doing is, now I'm going to call substring here. Now I'm going to call this particular substring here. Let me run this example. So focus about the particular substring. Here you can see W space we are having and string we are having. After this, again we are having space. So B double spaces and end. Here what you understand here, from this particular position, now it is copy the end of the result here. Now it is copy the end of the result here. Okay, so same substring if I'm going to use with different position. Now whatever I suggested, 10 comma 50. If I'm going to use 10 comma 50 here. So same example, observe carefully what exactly this particular substring method is doing now. Now you can see, so this is the 10th position. Now up to the 50th position, it is copied all the values. It is copied all the values. So this is also important here, the first method as well as second method. Okay, this substring basically it is going to give you the more information about the whenever you want to copy the between characters. Okay, for example, so the one string is which is coming from the front end. Now the particular string is going to have lot of information like username information, password information, like email related information. Now I want to copy only email or I want to copy only username. Now what we can do, so we need to provide the proper positions here. Whenever we are providing the proper positions here, so simply we can copy the username or password using this particular substring method here. Okay, this is very important here. And the substring method, replace method, mainly some logical programming is also we are going to use more and more here. Okay, so try to work on the substring and replace method along with this. So remaining additional methods, something like append method, like set caret method, get char method, insert method, okay, delete and delete caret method, length and capacity, whatever we discuss here. So try to focus more about the all the string buffer related methods so that you will be very clear on this particular string buffer class, how it is implementing internally here. Okay, I discuss about the each and every method internal implementation so that we can easily understand here, because this substring is coming from the same string class implementations only. So you can go to the previous class string class substring method, you will understand how it is implemented internally. Okay, now what are the additional method we are having? Now if you see here, we did not discuss about the index of method. Now what exactly this index of methods are going to be provided? For example, here I'm having index of method. Now what exactly this particular index of method is doing? Now if you observe carefully, you need to provide the string. You need to provide the string. Now the string method, like the index of method, it will return as a integer. For example, if I am trying to providing string here, if I'm trying to providing string, so what is the number I'm going to get here? What is the number I'm going to get here? Now here you can see I'm trying to print after this particular substring here. After this particular substring, now I'm trying to print the index value. Index value. Now I'm getting as a 12. Now I'm getting as a 12. So how we can say this string is started with a 12 position or not? This particular string, it started with a 12 position or not? Now, so to understand this, what we can do, I'm running in the debug mode. Okay, now here you can see we are having this index of method. Now here you can see super dot index of method. Now we are under the string buffer class. It will go to the super class, something like a abstract string buffer. Now we are under the abstract string buffer. What is exactly it saying here? Now observe carefully index of method. So this is a string message we provided, but here if you observe from index. Now, from index, what is doing basically? It is trying to check the given string from the 0 index onwards. Okay, from this particular 0 index onwards, it is trying to check this particular value here. Now, observe carefully here what I am doing here. Now, I am going for the internal implementation of index of method. So, here we identify this is the string parameter, and now this is the position parameter, like from which position onwards we want to check this particular values here. Okay, after this again what we are doing is super dot index of method. Okay, this index of method is called from the super class. Now again we are going to call the same super class index of method with two parameters here. Now if you see, we are coming back to the again abstract injection. Now here we are checking two parameters, but here he is expecting these many parameters here. Now what are the parameters? First one is value. Value is nothing but, so currently how many values we stored here? Now you can see 0 to what is the current position we are having? 99 plus 18. Okay, so something like 1117. This is the current position of this particular string buffer capacity. Getting the point? So this is the current position of this particular string buffer capacity. String buffer basically based on the input, automatically it is going to have the growable nature here. So explicitly we don't need to come up with a new string buffer object here. Internally it take care of increasing, like growing the string buffer object here. Because of that only now we reach the capacity now 118 here. So 117, sorry. 117. 0 to 117 is nothing but 118 is the capacity. What is the length currently? Length basically is 64. Length 0 to 63 is nothing but 64. 64 characters are inserted. Like from the 64, still we are having the space to insert the few more values. So this is saying as a value. Now what about this particular coder? So coder basically it is from which position we want to identify this particular values here. Now count here. Count is a something like a length here. Count is something like a length. Currently, how many values we inserted? Now str. Now from index, from which index onwards we want to check this particular given string here. Now I'm calling the string dot index of. So carefully observe. Finally, which method we are calling? We are calling the string dot index of method. Okay. Now this index of method from the string buffer, finally it is going to call the string class index of method. Now if we observe, now I come under the string class. So here you need to understand here. Now we are under the string class. Okay. Now what exactly this string class is doing here? So it's trying to load the byte array. These are the byte array we are having here. Okay. These are the byte array. Now this is the string we given. This is the string we given, like a parameter string. Now this is something like a source. SRC is nothing but source. Now here you can see the source we are having 117. Okay, but destination something like the method parameter which we are going to compare, that we are having the size called 0 to 5. 0 to 5 is nothing but 6 here. Now after this coder method, length method, now we are checking from index if it is a greater than or equals to the source count here. Okay, source count. Now this is something like a length, current length. So it is not matched. It is not matched. This is also not matched. This is also not matched here. So this coder is matching. Now using this particular string Latin, now we are trying to find out the index of. So this method, now it is returning as a current index of method here. Here you can see what is the index of we are getting 12. Finally, what you understand here, internally we are checking the original string, length of the string, and given string and given string length here. Now finally, we are comparing each and every value. When it is going to match here, it will try to return as a the first position. Okay, whenever it is matched as a first position. So now observe carefully what we are trying to explain here. Now again, this is a bigger byte array. Here it start with S. Here also it start with S. And here also it start with S. But using this particular index of method, what is doing it? The first occurrence of this particular string. Okay, first occurrence of this particular string. Even though the given string, if you provided in the multiple position, the same string is already available in the multiple position. But what you are doing basically here, what we want to understand here, even though we are providing this particular string in the multiple position, so whenever it is satisfied the first occurrence here, the index of method will return the first occurrence of this particular value. Currently, this is the 12 value we are getting here. But if you call this particular last index of, so maybe you may get as a 65 something. So because this is the last occurrence of this particular given string here. So this is the differences between index of method as well as last index of method here. This is what we need to understand here. Okay. Now last index of basically it is a overloaded method. So carefully observe now what I'm trying to explain here. Let me remove this. Now coming back to index of we identify, I given the string. So whenever the first occurrence of this particular string is matched here, it will try to return as a the current position here. Now what about this particular last index here? Now if you observe last index of is expecting first parameter as a string here. The same last index of is expecting string with o from index. So carefully observe what we need to understand here. Index of method, first parameter, like a first method, only one parameter is expected. Something like a string. Now whenever the string it is going to check this particular string, now it is going to check from this particular byte array whatever the string is matched with the last occurrence here, it will try to return the index value. What about the second method? Second method, what it will do? From the position, whatever the position we provided, from the position now it will try to check the last index here. Okay, so see carefully this method. Now I'm trying to give as a same string. Here I want to give from 10. So what we need to understand here, this is the last index here. This last index, it will start from by default from the 0 position. Okay, this particular last index of method also internally, it will try to start from the 0 position. In the 0 position, it will try to keep on checking this given string, how many times it is going to be matched here. how many times it is matched. So for example, if this particular string is matched 3 times, now the last to third time, whatever the value we are going to get here, the particular value we are going to get here, the particular position. Okay. For example, whatever I suggested. So here again I'm trying to give this particular byte. So S, okay, and here also one more S, and here also one more S. For this particular purpose, this is the position, something like 56. Okay, something like 45. Here also we are having S, and here also we are having S, and here also we are having S 12. Okay, now what you need to understand here, this particular last index of method, it will start from 0 to search this particular given string. Now what about this particular second last index of method? So is expecting two parameter. Now it is not going to start from this particular position. These positions are not going to check because the index we given as a 10. The index we given as a 10. Whenever we given as a 10, from the 10th index onwards, it will keep on checking the string information. From this particular 10, it will keep on checking this particular index value. So this is what we need to understand here. This is what we need to understand here. Now, so the first method, it will keep on checking from the 0 position, but the second method, it is not going to check from the 0 position. Whatever the whatever the index position we are going to provide, from this particular index position, it is going to check the given string is having which index location. Okay, so this is the difference between these two last index of method. Anyone having any questions so far? Substring method we discuss here, index of method, and replace method. Any questions? Okay. Now, if you don't have anything, so these all about the important section about the particular string buffer class. So string buffer class introduced when? String buffer is introduced from the which version onwards. Now, if you see here, if you go to the home, from which version onwards this particular string buffer is available? From the 1.0 onwards. Okay, this is the string buffer class. Again, it is a one of the final class. What exactly the final class will do? It is not going to be perform any inheritance operations. So we are not able to extend this particular string buffer class. So whatever we discuss regarding this particular string class, now we are unable to perform this particular inherited. Same thing for applicable for this particular string class also. String and string buffer, we are not able to extend to the another classes. This is what we understand here. Okay, this is we understand. Now another important section. Another important section what we can identify. Now we have a one more class called string builder. Now we need to understand the string builder section of code. String builder demo. Under this particular string builder demo, now first what we can discuss here, we need to discuss about the constructors. Okay, this is the string builder. Now if we observe how many characters we are having, how many characters we are having here. So this is the default constructor. So now if you observe carefully, how many we are having? Default constructor. Again we are having capacity constructor, int parameter something like a capacity. So here you can provide the string as a one more parameter. Now char sequence. Char sequence is nothing but either you can come up with a character or the string related section. This is the one more constructor we are having. So totally we are having 4 constructors. Totally we are having 4 constructors here. Now we need to understand the one by one constructor. So how exactly the each and every constructor is going to work internally. So if you observe carefully the default constructor. Now I'm clicking on this default constructor. Now observe carefully. Super capacity. What is the value we are providing? 16. Now string buffer as well as string builder both are having same value. Okay, the capacity is by default it is going to have same here for this particular string buffer as well as string builder. Now I'm calling super. From where we reached here, abstract string builder. Okay, abstract string builder. Now if you go to this, if you go to this particular string buffer class, now what is a super class? Abstract string builder. Now what is the current class we are having? Abstract string builder. Now what you understand here? Basically, abstract string builder. Abstract string builder is a Abstract string builder is a one class. It is going to be extended to this particular 2 classes. The first class is string buffer. Okay. Second class is string builder. Now observe carefully. String buffer is a one class and string builder is a another class. Now what you are understanding now? String buffer and string builder internally it is extending the class called abstract string builder. Now why it is extending it? Because the string buffer and string builder is going to perform the same operation. Now if it is going to perform the same operation, why this particular class is introduced? Okay, we can perform with this particular string buffer. Now why this particular string builder class is now introduced here? Okay, now we need to understand here why this particular string builder class is now introduced here. So to understand this, what we need to understand first here, if you go to this particular string builder class, now what is the class is extending? Abstract string builder. Now if you go to this particular string buffer, here it is extending from the same class, abstract string builder. Okay, now we observe. After this, okay, so now if you see the second constructor, I will explain why this particular string builder is introduced. But before going to discuss about the first constructor we identified, so second constructor, okay, is expecting capacity. Now what about the third constructor? Is expecting str.length. So the fourth constructor, even though if you are providing so the character related stuff, now same thing. Length plus 16, string length plus 16. By default, you can provide explicitly. By default, it is 16. Now this is applicable for both classes. String buffer, string builder, both are having same constructor, same structure of the constructor. Now we completed. But after this, what you need to understand here, append method. So append method. Now if you see string builder is having append method, is expecting object as a parameter. Now we are calling internally append method. Now here you can see this is the string builder is trying to return append method. Okay, append method. So super dot append. What is the super dot append? The abstract string builder dot append method we are going to call here. Now what we can identify another important section here. If you go to this particular string buffer, so try to identify the same method called append method. So let's go to this particular append method. Okay, so this is the string buffer append method. So now what I will do, I'm going to copy this particular structure. I'm going to copy this particular structure here. Let me remove this. Okay, now so observe carefully here what I'm doing here. This is the string buffer code. Okay, this is the string buffer append code. Now if you go to this particular string builder, copy this particular string builder same code where we are having string builder demo, right? Now here this is a string builder same append method. Okay, so observe carefully what we need to understand here. This is also calling the same append. He is expecting the string parameter. So this is also expecting the same string parameter. Name of the method is same. Now it internally it is calling super dot append. Here also it is calling super dot append. But what is the differences? Why the same method is called come as a two times here? Okay. Now what we need to understand here, if you see here one extra keyword called synchronize here. Extra keyword called synchronize. The keyword now it is not available under this particular string builder. So far, whatever the string buffer related, all the method we discuss here, all the methods now internally it's contain the synchronize keyword. But whereas the string builder related method does not contain the synchronized keyword here. So why the synchronized keyword is doing here? So what exactly the synchronized keyword is going to do the operation? Because if you know the multi-threading concepts here, if you know the threading concept here, this is the package we discuss here, where we discuss about the, let's see, because in the previous session we already discussed about the synchronized keyword. Here if you see, synchronized keyword we discuss whenever we are discussing about the threading concept. Now what exactly it will do? Here if you see main class, now we are calling the put method and one more get method we are having. For the put method as well as get method, what we are doing here, we are trying to use the synchronize here. So before going to discuss about the current synchronized keyword, now we need to understand here. Now if you see, we are now under the consumer class. Consumer class. So consumer class internally it is creating a thread. Now it is calling get method. Same way, if you go to this particular producer class, inside the producer class we are having put method. Okay. Now where we are having PC main. So this is the PC main. Internally we are calling producer and consumer. Now here we are working on the two threads. Here we are working on this particular two threads. Now if you see, if I'm going to run this example, now what exactly it is doing here? What exactly it is doing here? Put method, producer. So the state is runnable and get method. So get method, state and put method. Get like put method and what is the state of the current state of the put method, the thread, and after the same get value. So state about this particular get method. Now what you understand here, even though we are working on the multiple threads, how we can say multiple threads here? Because this producer is going to call by main thread and internally we are trying to create a one child thread. Okay, so using main and child, now what I'm doing, I'm trying to call this particular put method. Okay, this put method is having synchronized keyword. Even though we are working with multiple threads, but this put method is going to call only one thread at a time. Because of this particular synchronized keyword here, it is going to call only one thread at a time here. So same concept, now it is applicable here under this particular string buffer. Now this append method, if it is going to call from multiple threads, for example, this append method is calling from 3 location. Okay, now whenever it is calling 3 location, now what happens here? 3 locations is nothing but 3 threads, T1 and T2 and T3. Okay, these are the 3 threads we are using. Now using this particular append method, what happens internally? One by one it is going to call. T1 will call first. Once the T1 is completed, now T2 will enter. Now once the T2 completed, now T3 will enter. But how we will understand, how we will know the communication here? Because the synchronized keyword, what it will do, it is going to have a locking mechanism. Once a thread enter into this particular section of code, so the synchronized keyword is going to make this entire method locking. Now once the method is locked, so another thread, it is not going to access the same method. It should be in the waiting status. Okay, so still they are waiting, the remaining 2 threads, they will try to wait here. So until the lock is going to be released. When the lock is going to release here, once the current thread is come out of this particular method. Okay, now what you understand here? So using the synchronized keyword, we can perform one by one thread operations. But Without synchronization, we can perform multiple threads. We can perform multiple threads operation. So this is only the main difference between string buffer and string builder. So string buffer is having the synchronization, whereas string builder does not contain the synchronization here. Okay, this is all about the important section about this particular string buffer difference as well as string builder difference here. But remaining methods or constructors are all are same. So far, whatever we discuss here, all are the same here. Go to here. So string builders, where is a string buffer demo? Okay. Now the same constructors, same methods are applicable under this particular string builder class. Now, if you want to understand here, string builder and a string buffer. Okay. First classes we already identified. Both classes are now extending this particular class. Now, if you see, let me try. So to open in the side-by-side window. Okay. Now here you can see this is the string buffer class. Okay. Here we can see this is the string buffer class and this is the string builder class. Now what we are trying to understand here, if you see constructors here. First constructor, default constructor, internally it is calling super.16. Now if you go to here, this is also same. String buffer, super 16. String builder, super 16. Now go for the second constructor. It is doing the same here. String buffer, into capacity, string builder, into capacity, super. Now third one. Now here you can see string related. So same here. Okay. Internally also we are calling append. Here also we are calling the same append. Now fourth constructor. Now same is going to be performed here also. Now go for the comparative method. Now you can see comparative method, length method, capacity. But here, so they come up with the positions are different here, but methods are same here. Now if you see ensure capacity we are having here. Okay, where we are having the append method. So here you can see append method which is expecting object as a parameter, but second append method which is expecting as a string as a parameter. This is same string as a parameter, super.append, and returning this and returning this. This append method will return the string builder. This append method will return the string buffer. But only the difference is synchronize. Here also we are having synchronize, and here you can see set char also synchronize. Okay, get char also synchronize. Now so offset something synchronize, code point count. Now code point. So if you see the caret, set length, all are having synchronized keyword. But whereas in the string builder, we don't have this particular synchronized keyword, but all the remaining methods should available under this particular string builder also. So this is the main differences. Now if you see when this particular string builder is introduced, here you can see the version 1.5, whereas this particular string buffer class 1.0. Okay, these are the differences we are having regarding this particular string builder as well as string buffer. So still any questions regarding these two classes? Still any questions? Okay. Now, if you don't have anything, so what we need to understand here, another important section called, so once we complete the string class, string buffer as well as string builder, now we need to understand the java.lang packages. Now we already identified few of the classes here. This is the main package basically, java.lang package. By default, all the classes will have under this particular classes, and for this package, whatever the classes we are having, all the classes we are not going to use any import keyword. We are not going to use any import keyword. For example, if you see this particular string buffer class, which is coming from the which package? Java.lang package. Now, whereas this particular string builder, it is also same. Now, what are the wrapper classes we are having? What are the additional classes we are having under this particular Java.lang package? Now, if you see, mainly all the wrapper classes we already discussed here. First one is Boolean class. Boolean is the one of the wrapper class. Now, this particular Boolean is basically, it is a primitive type. This is, we'll call it as a keyword. Okay, this will not call it as a keyword. It is a class here. So see the differences here. This is, we'll call it as a class, and this is, we'll call it as a keyword here. Now, what is the differences here? Basically, for this keyword, we are not going to create any object. So there is no concept called constructor related concept. But whereas for the class, now normal class is how we are going to create object. Same way, we'll try to create an object for this particular wrapper classes. So Boolean, okay, byte, and character, okay, and float, so string, getting the point. So class loader, class value, we are having number of classes. Now we'll see what are the each and every class we'll do here. Now, coming back to the one position here. Now here we'll discuss about the Boolean, now which is coming from the java.lang package. Now you can see public final class Boolean. Okay, this wrapper class also we cannot extend here because of this particular final keyword. Now here you can see what are the constructors we are having. Now you can see, so this is deprecated from the 9 version, but up to 9 version we can provide the Boolean value. Boolean value we can provide. So this is also same. Here you can provide the second constructor as a string parameter. Now it will try to parse as a Boolean value. Now here you can see what is exactly, this is a method basically. This is a static method parse Boolean. Now what we are doing is we are providing this particular string. Now we are trying to converting into this particular Boolean type. Okay, so Boolean value. Okay, now mainly this method is important, value of. So value of, what exactly it is doing is, whatever the Boolean value we are providing, internally it is trying to return as a Boolean object. It is trying to return as a Boolean object. So this is the main differences between wrapper class and primitive type. This is, we'll call it as a primitive type. Now primitive type value we are providing, but the return type we are getting as a object here. So object is nothing but, if you see, what is the method we are having? So something like a value of, and it is a static method. Now how we can access here? Boolean dot value of. Now here false I provided. Okay. Now observe carefully, value of. We got the value of. Now once we got this particular value of, now what you need to understand here, Boolean dot. So these many methods we can call, like Boolean value, compare to, equals method, hash code method, notify something. Okay. Now, so if I'm going to perform with this particular primitive type is nothing but false dot. I'm not able to call the methods. Whatever the method with a dot boolean, like a boolean dot, whatever we identified method, but now I'm not able to find those methods. Why? Because false is a keyword. False is a keyword. Because of this, now we could not find out those such methods here. Okay, this is the main differences between primitive type and wrapper type. But wrapper to primitive to wrapper, automatically it is going to convert the value. So we don't need to write any explicit logic to convert the object into primitive type, from primitive type into object type here. So this is what we need to understand regarding this particular Boolean. So same way, we'll have the different type of wrapper classes. The another wrapper class is byte, okay, character, and so float, and double. Getting the point? Now we already discussed it just now, string and string buffer, string builder. Okay. Now long class, L is a capital, long class and integer. Okay. Short. These are the all the classes are available under this particular java.lang package. But if you see the main class, basically number, this number is very important. Now this number is a very important class. Now we'll see the what exactly this number will do. For example, here this is the number class we are having. Now if you go to this is the one of the abstract class. So now abstract class is nothing but this particular class does not implement all the methods. So some of the methods they are making as a abstract here. So if you see int value, it is an abstract method, lang value, float value, double value. Okay. So here we are having byte value, it is trying to returning, short value it is trying to return. But whereas these many methods are abstract methods. These many methods are abstract. But where these methods are implemented, where these particular methods are implemented. Now if you go to this particular integer class, for example, now if I'm going to the integer class, now if you see integer is also one of the finite class. Now it is extending from this particular number class. Okay. Now whatever the number class we identified, now it is extending. Now once it is extending whatever the method we have, so if you see here, now where we are having this particular methods here. Okay. Here we are having integer value. Now here we are having long value. Okay. Here we are having float value, and here we are having double value. Now if you see in the number class, long value, float and double, these are the abstract method, but the same methods now implemented under this particular integer class. Not only this integer class. Now if you go to here, double also. Okay. Now if I'm opening double, double also internally extending from this particular number. Now double, it is trying to return as a same methods implementation, integer, long value, float and double value. Okay. Now what you understand here, number is one of the super class for all the number related classes like byte, short, int, okay, long, float and double. For this particular classes, number is one of the super class here. Okay, because under the number class we are having some methods are abstract method. Those are all implemented under this particular the subclasses called the integer, long and float, double, byte and short related classes here. Okay, so this is very important, we need to understand here. Now another important section what you need to understand here. So here we need to discuss about we already discussed about the thread related classes. The thread related also comes under the java.lang package here. Now if you see the number class we discuss here, now the constructor, each and every class will have a different type of constructor. For example, if I go to explain this particular double related constructors. Okay, this is the double class. Now if I show you the double class related constructor. Okay, this is the value of method. It is not a constructor. Here also it is a value of method. Okay, now if you see is none, is infinity, so double. Now if you see this is a constructor, but it is deprecated. Okay, it is a constructor, but it is now deprecated here. This is what we need to understand here. Now So one more constructor we are having, string is expecting. Now this is also deprecated from 9 version. But how we are going to get the double object? Using this value, like value of method. Using this particular value of method, now we can get this particular double object. Internally, if you see, it is doing the same operation. Return new double, whatever the parameter we are going to pass here. Okay, this is what we need to understand regarding this particular double class. Same thing, it is applicable for integer, float, as well as long data type. Okay, this is all about the important section we need to understand here. Now, after this particular section of code, now if you see here, what we are having, maximum like value, minimum value, these are the variable levels. The class level variable, each and every class is going to be provided. If you see min normal, it is a one variable, because this value, it is not going to be changed here. We are going to check the value, but we are not going to modify the value. For that purpose, we can go for this particular variable declaration at class level. Now if you see this, here we define public static final double. So here you can see final. Whenever we are providing the final, it is not going to be change the value. Okay, for the double related calculation, so these are the maximum value, minimum value. Okay, so these are the static related value as well as final value we are having. Now go to the remaining classes. All the methods will have same understanding here. Okay, so we'll continue the java.lang related what are the classes we are having, because if you see the double related classes is none and is infinity method we are having. So same way for the byte and short, integer long, for the integer related classes we'll have a different methods here. So we'll understand what exactly the integer category classes will do, and whereas the double related category classes is going to do. So we need to understand in the tomorrow session. Tomorrow is also important because we are going to discuss more information about the java.lang package. Under the lang package, what are the classes we are having, how each and every class is going to use. So once this particular java.lang package is going to complete, now we'll discuss about the collection framework. We'll discuss about the collection framework, how the collection frameworks are going to be introduced here. So what are the ways of creating this particular collection frameworks here. Okay, so this is the today's session. Still any questions? Still anyone having any question? Because day to day we are trying to discuss more about the internal implementation of the classes. So these are the internal implementation is very important to understand how the each and every class is implemented. So once you understand here, you can write any number of classes. The customized classes also we can write here. Okay. If you don't have anything, so I'm stopping the session up to here. We'll continue tomorrow.